Welcome to PSD to HTML5 and CSS3. This video is called Gathering Assets and Saving for Web. What we're going to be doing in this video is slicing up our Photoshop document in order to take the image assets out of the design, the parts of the design that can't necessarily be coded in HTML5 or CSS3. And then we're going to be saving those images to our images folder within our website so that we can reference them later once we start coding in HTML5 and CSS3. Just as a note, you're going to need Photoshop, CS3, 4, 5, 6, whatever version. I provided a link in an earlier lesson. And also you're going to need a little bit of Photoshop experience in order to comfortably follow along. I'll give some direction and take my time so that it's a little bit easier, but having a bit of experience is only going to help. So let's jump right in. Open up your PSD. I provided the PSD also in an earlier lesson. And let's get started. Select the marquee tool or press M. And we're going to select this logo. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on that logo. It'll be a little bit easier to select it. So click the zoom tool, or you can press Z alternatively and zoom in on that. This is going to make it a lot easier to select this. So let's select the marquee tool again and just take a really big wide selection so everything's in there. And what we don't want is we don't really want all this extra image on the outside of what's important. We kind of want to shave all this off here. So you can do that by negatively selecting or subtracting the selection from this current selection by either clicking this, which is the subtract from selection, and you can see it gives you a little like a negative or a minus icon beside the crosshair, which will allow you to negatively select or subtract from this selection. So we don't want this. You can see that trimmed it down. Alternatively, if you just had this the regular marquee tool, the new selection, you can press and hold Option, and that will toggle, you can see here, the subtract from selection. And I like that better because right here you might forget that you left this on, and then you might try to make a selection and you might get confused. So I just like using keyboard shortcuts. It makes my Photoshop experience a lot quicker and more efficient. So click and hold Option and then just subtract the selection. And then you can let go of Option. There's your selection. Now we want to copy this. You can do this by going Edit, Copy Merged. Copy Merged is the best way in this case, because what that does is it basically merges all of the layers, everything within this selection. So everything you see is what you're going to get. So what you see is what you get in this selection. You get the black, you get the blue flower icon, and you get logo. So Copy Merged. Alternatively, you can go Shift Command C to copy merged. I like using keyboard shortcuts because it makes my, like I said, my Photoshop experience a little faster. A new document. All these settings are fine because it's going to copy from the clipboard. The width and height, they're going to be the width and height of the selection. You don't need to worry about the name because we're not actually going to save this separate Photoshop document. And paste, you can go Edit Paste or Command V. There's your logo. We're going to save this now, but we're going to save it for web and devices. And what this allows us to do is choose from presets in order to compress the image as much as possible without losing, ideally we don't want to lose very much visual integrity of the image. We want it to be as good looking as possible with the smallest file size. And so you can do that in this dialog window. I can toggle through the different presets here. There's GIF, JPEG. You can see JPEG is twice the size of the GIF in this case. PNG 8 and 24. And, well, we won't use that. But basically, we're going to stick to GIF, JPEG, and PNG 24. In this case, GIF looks the best. Probably don't need 128 colors. 64 looks fine. Let's just check the image again. There's no noticeable difference in this except for file size. So let's do this. It's the smallest file size we can get. It looks great. Save. We're going to save this image in our website folder in the images folder, and let's call it logo.gif. Save. And let's close this Photoshop document. We don't need it anymore. You can click the close icon, or you can alternatively press and hold Command and then W. Don't save. And we want to deselect this. You can do that by going Select, Deselect, or Command D. And now we want to zoom back out. We don't want to be so close. And the best and quickest way of doing that is going View, Actual Pixels, or Command 1. Next up is this big computer image. What we're going to do is very similar to this, but instead of just selecting it like this, we don't want the blue or, you know, this nav here. We don't want the white. We don't want this line. We don't want any of this. We just want the computer and a transparent background. That is going to make it a lot easier to position this image in our website without getting any of this background. So you can do that by right-clicking. First, you're going to need to choose the Move tool. You can click it here or press V, and then right-click on this image. It's automatically going to pull up right under your cursor here what layer that is. So click on that, and it'll pull it up right here. And so here it is. I can see by toggling this that it actually is the correct layer. And now I want to select this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Marquee tool. Take a really wide selection. Just make sure the whole image is in there. Never mind what you're selecting on the outside, because what we're going to do here is important. So we're going to select this, or toggle this, but instead of actually just toggling the image itself, like that, we're going to toggle everything but this image or layer. So you can do that by clicking and holding Option, and then toggling the layer. Everything else is going to disappear. Turns everything off except for this layer. That's good. So now we're going to copy merged. And now we want to put everything back because we don't want to keep it like this. So let's go Option and hold Option and toggle this layer again. Everything comes back. New document, Command N. These settings are good. Paste or Command V. What it did is it, instead of copying that entire selection with all of this, the extra white space around it, like so, we didn't want all this. So by copying with a transparent background, it automatically trimmed right to the edges of the image, which is exactly what we want. However, we don't want this white background. So let's get rid of that. You can trash that layer. And now it's transparent. This little checkered background means transparency. So let's save for web and devices. Or you can alternatively try and remember this. I have muscle memory with this, so I'm going to try and tell you what it is. But if you learn how to do this and just practice it, it's a lot quicker than just always clicking everywhere. There's a lot of clicking involved in Photoshop. If you can remember keyboard shortcuts, you'll just be better off. So this is Shift Option Command S. Save for web and devices. Shift Option Command and then S. So now we're going to save this, and I'm going to show you here. If I chose GIF, I can see some pretty gnarly image compression here. We don't like that. And you can see around the edges here, there's white. You can see white all around the edges, and that won't look good. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose PNG 24. That supports transparency, and you won't see any image compression. All right, so that looks good. Save. Let's call this one computer.png. Close this layer, Command W. Sorry, document, not layer. And we want to deselect that, Command D. Up next are these three dogs. So let's move down here. And select these dogs. What we're going to do is go back to the Move tool, or V. Right-click on the layer that we want. So this little puppy here, Layer 1. Let's click it and see if that's what it is. That's what it is right there. And a way that you can select this actual layer, instead of manually doing it with the marquee tool, is you can hover over this, the layer, thumbnail, and clicking and holding Command. Click and hold Command. And you can see the marquee selection icon behind the hand there. What that's going to do is that if you click on this now by holding Command, it will select that layer, and just that layer. And that's what we want. So now we can copy merged, Shift Command C, and then a new layer, a new document, Command N. Hit OK. Now we want to paste. And let's save for web and devices. Shift Option Command S. So we probably don't want a PNG 24. It's probably not necessary. So let's try JPEG. That looks good to me. I'll show you the difference here. If I were to choose GIF, you can see some awful image compression here, and it's not that much smaller than a JPEG. So it's good to try this out with each image because it's different with the colors and the makeup of the actual photo. So in this case, a JPEG with about 80% quality is going to be good. You can even try less if you want, but I like leaving it at 80. It's okay. Save. Let's call this one Puppy. Close this document, Command W. And let's go to this next one here. So I can see here, I can see column 1, 2, and 3 in these groups. I already know that this is column 1, 2, and 3, so I'm just going to make the assumption that this layer is this dog right here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click and hold Command and click on this layer thumbnail, and it will select that image. There it is. So copy merged, Shift Command C, new document, Command N, paste, Command V, save for web and devices, Shift Option Command S. These settings will be the same as the last one. We have a similar image, so we'll be good. Save that. Let's call this one crazy_dog.jpg. Close, Command W, don't save. On to the next image here. Looks like it's column 3, layer 3. Select this one, click and hold Command, press layer thumbnail, it'll select that. Copy merged, Shift Command C. New document, Command N. Paste, Command V. Save for web and devices, Shift Option Command S. Settings are good. Save. Call this one husky.jpg. Close. All right, now we're on to the social icons, the Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So let's deselect this, Command D, or you can go to select and deselect. Zoom in on this. It will make it a lot easier to select. So I'm going to press Z or Z, and you can also click on this and then drag around. There's your icons. Now let's choose the marquee tool by pressing M. Make a big wide selection, and let's do what we did with the logo. Let's trim around this because we don't want this extra gray here. We just want the white. And you can have a square, you can have the gray up here, but we want it to be right along the edges here. So press and hold Option or Alt, and let's subtract from this selection. Oops, don't want that either. There we go. Copy merged, Shift Command C. New document, Command N. Paste. Save for web and devices. Shift Option Command S. And we can see here there's only a few colors in this. Really, there's only gray and white, but you can see here it's picking up on a few colors. There's a few different shades of white and gray in here and along the edges. So we want to be able to accommodate those. So we're going to try GIF here, and we'll just start up here. So there probably isn't 256 colors. Let's try 128. Nope. 64. So we just trimmed down on a few of the colors there. Let's see if we can notice a difference. You can hardly notice a difference. So let's save on space here. Let's see if you can notice it this far away. 128. 64. There's no noticeable visual difference. So let's save it with 64 colors as a GIF. So let's save that. And let's name it social_Twitter. Close it. And now let's select the next one, which is Facebook. Now, instead of doing the same thing we did here and subtracting from the selection and doing all that, we can just drag this selection over. And because they're the same size, it will be a perfect selection. Eventually, it will go over there. Oops, there we go. There we go. So perfect selection. Copy merged, Shift Command C. New document, Command N. Paste, Command V. Save for web and devices, Shift Option Command S. And same settings should be good. Save, social_Facebook. Close that. Onto the next one. We could do the same thing and just drag the selection over. My computer seems to be not cooperating right now. There we go. Copy merged. New document. Paste. Save for web and devices. Again, Shift Option Command S. Hopefully you can remember that. Settings are good. Social_YouTube. That's good. Close. Now let's deselect this by going Select, Deselect, or optionally Command D. Let's zoom back out to the full size of the mockup, Command 1, or View Actual Pixels. Alright, and that is all for the images in the mockup. So let's just review to make sure we got everything. Inside our images folder, we have the logo, computer, we have the 3 dogs, and we have the 3 social icons. So that looks good. Just as a quick review, we sliced up our images in here. We sliced up the logo, sliced up the computer here, our 3 dogs, and our 3 social icons. We're going to be referencing those images in an upcoming video once we start coding the HTML. And that's all for this one. So we'll see you in the next video.